Okay, here's a quick update. Yesterday I spent an hour and a half up the main mast and find a seat here, and we finally got this through the front to the rear of the mast at that position there, and the wire then goes through under and then up to the roller. So you're allowed up to 5 degrees, but I think I had more, but it still was a bit tight. So when I was up there, I drilled two 12mm holes 3 fingers apart. One that I thought would be about right. It turned out to be pretty close. If you come down too far, you start stretching things and putting pressure on the mainstay. So the guys from Moon, which is you can pick it up on Vessel Finder. There it is there. It's 120 feet long or thereabouts, and I think it's 170 tonne. It's got three 4,000 horsepower Caterpillars in it. I'm not kidding. 3,000 kilowatts each. It'll do 27 knots. Not bad for a tugger. Anyway, these guys, Sam and his good friend, both Oxers actually, an 85 and a 97. Just great guys. The 85 is the number 2. Thought he was 11. But so anyway, let's get back to ERQUY. So this is longer than this, obviously. It was to get through the mast. You can imagine I went in through this way here like that in the front, and the cable it comes up underneath and out, and I had everything there. Talk about luck, because I had the parts that I had up there didn't quite fit, but we left we brought a bag up with me, and it just had everything was there. I had 2 drills, 12mm, 6mm, everything worked perfectly. It was just one of those days, and as hot as it is now, over 102, 103 degrees Fahrenheit. And even though I was up there, I was getting a breeze, and the poor guys were, safety first and all that. We're doing a great job down below, looking at their phones and looking up at me, and I was yelling instructions, and I think they were getting a bit, oh God, what's he want now? But it was all working well. I only dropped 2 parts, and both scrap, and they ended up on the tent. No, actually, one was a 12mm nut, but it wasn't going to hurt anyone. So that was about it, and I sawed off the extra all threaded bar and just hammered it over so it didn't catch with anything. Looks like I've got to the triadic rope or wire needs to be redone, the one that we did some months ago at Port St. Louis. The other thing I was thinking about, I wasn't worried about, because I've been using Vessel Finder as with Elon as a AIS finder or receiver, and it's worked really, really well. I haven't told you this, guys, before, but there was a vessel. Where was I? I was coming in close. If I wasn't, I was about to heave to outside Libya, about 80, 90 nautical miles off Libya. I think I ran about 20 on land, I think. It doesn't matter. But this vessel, which was a cargo vessel, travelling about 8 to 9 knots, was on a bearing of 105. I was on a bearing of 95. And just drifting and coming in with the wind, just looking at night see things, how we're going to, if I could heave to. And I found a spot, and it lasted for 4 days. And this is where I did some of the repairs to the steering and to the pump, the raw water pumps. It was just delightful. In the finish, one of the oil tankers from Libya turned up to see what the hell I was doing. But I was diving down in and out of the boat. Basically ignored them. But I was saying, who is this guy? And I sort of don't blame them, even though I was in international waters and all that. There was a war brewing, and like I could see that in my spare time. And it's one of the reasons why I headed left, actually. I didn't need much. I was going to go see Neil. I haven't said this before, but I was heading from Cyprus to the bottom of Greece, and just going to wait for Neil so Neil could have a look at the keels, because Neil has got a boat identical. He picked it up in Spain. I saw the boat in 14 in an advertisement. So whoever the guy was who picked it up did a monumental job, and I think his wife's still alive. So thank you, wife, for doing rebuilding a great boat, and it's been doing great service with Neil. And I think he's had it nearly 4 years in Greece. Anyway, I was heading towards his area, and the weather turned on me, and I thought, no, mission is get to Egypt, get through the Suez Canal before everything blows up. Or if it does blow up, at least I'm in a reasonably safe area. Safe-ish anyway, if you know what I mean. Maybe safer than Limassol, because these missiles will get halfway across the Mediterranean. So yeah, and okay, where am I going with this? Well, ever since I've left Port St. Louis, I have not had an AIS. That's why I've been using Elon and Vessel Finder. Now, Vessel Finder with the PC or a laptop has got a window which will give you distance. Probably it's as good as Google Maps, but it's in nautical miles. Now, the bonus with Vessel Finder is they show everything that's floating. Now, in Egypt, that's important because there's a lot of shit under the water, which has just been chopped off, and you've got to be extremely careful if you want to go into shallow water. So I took a rest for 2 or 3 days just before I went into Port Said, and just to make sure everything was right. And I was in 10 feet of water because ERQUY can do 10 feet easy, and obviously there's no tide here. So what I did was, using OpenCPN, I just come around the corner at the top and came on a sort of normal direction you would if you're going to Port Said, and then turned straight towards the beach. Now that, by doing that, you and I think I was 2 miles offshore, maybe more, and you offset the chance of hitting an old gas well. And some of these wells have been chopped off pretty close to the top. So yeah, I went in, anchored at 10 feet, and just stayed there. And it's beautiful sand. It just, the anchor just hit there, and I put out 40 meters and went to bed. This was, I think, about probably 10, 11 at night. And once you hit sand with this pick, I've got nothing moves. 12 millimeter chain and all that. Anyway, what happens when you buy this thing in 2017, 18, when they first come out? And I tried it every year. Look, there's the button for it, for the power supply. Yeah. There it is. I made its own power supply with its own blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Long for off. Short for on. So there you can see, I don't know, the lights light up, blah, 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 blah. I've had it apart, nothing's burnt. Everything's connected. I don't know what's going on. All the NEMA wires are separated. They're on a chocolate and a chocolate strip. And just when you need it, of course, this is when it breaks down. So, Matsutech, tell me what's wrong, because I've pulled it apart and all the ICs look absolutely perfect, and all the auxiliary things, the power supply and all that, looks absolutely special. I can only surmise after 5 years the hard drive died. Yes, I've got experience of that. I just put back the Hewlett Packard. Found for 5 years I had a Hewlett Packard with hard drive, two Aces with hard drives. Cost a lot of money, and I was advised not to do it. And my advice was right. I should never have done it. They died, and took a few things out with them as well. So yeah, so now they just don't start at all. And so I've just got to get them rebooted. So anyway, I've just put in the Hewlett Packard 17-inch. It all had open CPN on it. And so I had three, and then I corrupted the open CPN in my Apple. And the guy from Croatia put it in for me. And I was so pleased because it was open CPN works so well with Apple. And, Apple was not happy, obviously, about that. They won't support it at all. So anyway, yeah, there it worked on the hard for 5 years or more, no, maybe 7 years. And I put it in the water, zip, natter. So I've been using the long lat off here and the long lat downstairs. I set up TomTom, and I've been using Vessel Finder. And sure enough, if you do it pretty accurately, by transferring, even using the long lat off Ventusky, my weather maps, you can get this pretty right. Anyway, let's shorten this up a bit. I waited at 10 o'clock for this vessel to turn up, and just before I could see his lights with the binoculars, I made a pretty sharp right-hand 45-degree turn, so his radar would see. And the his AIS would see me. And when he came to view, I just flashed the lights and went back onto my 95. He, of course, never shifted. And I'm not sure if he wanted to talk to me. I don't talk on the radio with that. Just all you do is cause yourself a whole lot of problems. People don't understand the English, blah, blah, blah. So just don't talk. Just make movements and don't do anything. It makes no difference anyway. The fishermen in this area just charge you anyway, and they know you're there. And you just keep going. Ignore them. They've got their nets. They know what they're doing. They can see you miles away. They're like a great big lighthouse. The generator must be, whatever they've been doing. But at first I thought I was a bit worried about it. I didn't know what to do. I just kept going straight. And they went around me, didn't even look at me in daylight. Nighttime, same thing. They don't pop their horns, do nothing. Just stupid white man. What's he doing? And he's in our road. Go around him. What the hell, they're fishing? Yeah, that's the story there. But of course, when you've got ships as big as Gemma, you've got to look that up on Vessel Finder. And when you see that on the horizon, which it was on Alexandra, you've got to make a certain move around it. But I did the welding down here. I don't know how well you can see down the hole. I redid the seal. So I did some hard work, and there's still a bit of Loctite on that shaft. I polished a lot of off in 3 days, but there's still some there, and it wore the O-ring out. And was leaking pretty badly in the finish. So I put a new O-ring in, not a leak. So it's the shaft has polished itself really well. I did a good job on with 600 grit polishing up the O-ring before I put it in, and that seems to work. And I've done some welding down here. You can just, I don't know if I can point to it. There. The stain is 5mm. And this is gal, and explosions everywhere, of course. I've got a DC welder down here in the corner, and welded a bracket up there, one there, and I've got some Indian self-tappers in 10mm. I'm prepared to put in the 100mm 10mm all-threaded bar. So that's to stop any wobble. It's held down, but this is to get myself to Asia. And when I get there, I'm going to dig this whole thing out, and dig out all the wood, just underneath there, it will be teak. And what I'll do is I'll fill it up, and I can just lift it up, dig it out, dry it out, and put the studs back in. But we'll put them back with an epoxy and maybe sand and metal and aluminium, whatever I've got to do to use as a filler. But yeah, that's one big job which has got to be done because it's only 90% right. But otherwise, everything else is working really well. The inverter, made sure that I got the earth off that. I just want to make sure that the Robertson autopilot just doesn't see any AC at all. It certainly doesn't like shore power AC. It never has. That's why I have the fuse that I turn it on and off. I've forgotten, and things got a bit warm. But I've got now plugs, so I can plug. I got into trouble with having a switch to switch between lead acid battery and lithium iron phosphate, just to power up the motor. That's all it was doing, and the relay, it didn't fail. I think it was just a problem from the power supply that was coming from the computer of the Robinson, and it cooked it. So I thought, no, right, get rid of the relay, get rid of everything, get rid of the power supply from the main board, and just plug it in with two. I doubled it up, 16 amp plugs, Euro plugs from the household plugs, and it's only 5 amps, 5 with switchable 10, and so it does it easy. So when I want to go changing from one battery to the other, and what I've found, of course, with the only one alternator running, if I'm running between 3.7 and 4.2 knots at night, just one alternator, just rolling along, for 5 or 6 hours, there's enough. I can start the night, say about 12 o'clock at 11.9, and wake up in the morning or after breakfast time, and it's 12.2. You know what I mean? Like it's been running the fridge and everything during the lights, everything. And hey, can't complain about that. So I've never actually had to use a lithium iron phosphate. So, god damn. It's 38 kilos as well. So I've kept the Sterling battery-to-battery charger is on a very low 13.4 volts. I checked with Sterling, I've mentioned this before, and they said no, it's fine. Just keep that up. It'll charge to 13.6 and flow to 13.4, which it has. And I've set it at 13.3, it's fine. 13.2 is this long-term storage. So when I get, and it does here, with the side panels, solar panels, I easily get 14.4 volts, and things get charged up, and the Sterling wakes up and does its thing. Yeah, really pleased this morning. I found some weird things up there when I went up and caught the Genoa. I had a few things of some of my ideas that just didn't work at all. The basic idea was fine. In fact, if I hadn't have played with it and used any sort of side issues, it got me into trouble. I didn't know that. It was working. The system I put in there at Port St. Louis was working. But thank you, Patrick, at Promo Sales. I'll drop you an email. I'll put your idea in, but I've done it with 12mm rings and very heavy duty. And I've taken all your advice, and it's worked beautifully. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, so even though the boat runs really well with a Genoa just poking up behind the staysail, like I was doing 14 knots and 12 knots, holding 10, 12, coming down to Libya for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles, and pulling 6 and 8s, just with the missing and staysail with the Genoa, just no more than 23 meters stuck out behind it, and it just loves it. The only thing with the missing, with the direct wind behind you, is that it'll overpower the steering, and I need more Genoa just to balance it up. So hopefully when I get into the Red Sea, we can, yeah. Anyway, I've just been down the engine room, just checked a few things over, got the injector pipes, not, just done some bending there. I just had to get my mind into that before I did that. Cleared everything up. Oil leaks are down to a minimum. I've got that all sorted out. It's the oil hoses and the O-rings. So when I get into a spot where I find a hydraulic shop, I'll do a lot of changing around. Yeah. So dry oil pans under the engines, no oil, no water. I've tightened up some bits and pieces, and everything's looking good. The transmission with the 5W40 in it has been running beautifully, and there's been this information I found on the internet by Didi. I've forgotten his name now, but he's got a Hatteras with a 53, a couple of 53s in it, I take it, with Borg Warners, and he is running 40 weight oil, recommended by Detroit Diesel, to run the original engine oil back in, I guess, in the 70s. So there's 40 weight oil recommended to be in the Borg Warner by Detroit Diesel. So Borg Warner also say the same thing. In fact, they don't recommend anything. If you want to run below 3,000 RPM, run engine oil. So that's what I'm doing. I just don't have the old dinosaur 30 or 40 weight oil, and I'm not going to do it. What I'm going to do, the engine that's on the port side is running Dextron, 3 or 4, I don't know. I just don't like it. When you hear the difference of the, especially when you're motor sailing and you're dragging the props, and you do 5 or 6 knots and these things are spinning, the hydraulic oil just doesn't provide any sort of lubrication. You can hear things grinding over. It's awful. I put the engine oil in it, and within 3 or 4 hours it's silent drive, and when it goes into gear, it goes into gear, then goes thunk, a little thunk. I go, I like that. Like I've got 140 psi here, and it runs cool. Why? Because the bypass that goes to the coolers is running more oil to the coolers. And I don't know what the argument is. Okay, this 540 is BMW long life. It doesn't say it's got any special additives in it. So that's my story there. If it blows up, I own it. But to be honest, this gearbox is now Detroit Diesel. Back to this guy. He explains the difference of the 2-to-1s, the 72Cs, is that on one side, on the, okay, I'm not going to get this wrong because I'm just not going to say it. On one side, port side or the starboard side, you've got a double planetary system. Now, that means that it goes in reverse. Reverse to what? It just doesn't matter. And on the other side of your Borg Warner system, you've got a single planetary. And he says, this man with the Hatteras, said that is the strong side, right? The one that's going to break, if you're going to break anything in the planetary drive system, is the double, right? Now, he went through 2 gearboxes running hydraulic oil, Dextron. The minute he changed to 40 weight or 30 weight straight mineral oil, he hasn't looked at it, probably in 20 years. So I hear him, I get it, and this is what I'm going to do. I've made up my mind now. I'm going to throw the hydraulic oil, and it makes it so simple. I'm running the engines on this oil, and the engines love it. They just love it. The oil pressure's up. When the engines are hot, you turn the stop the engines, and it takes 2 or 3 seconds before the bells start rattling. Yes, way superior than 1040, I reckon, the semi. So really pleased there. And if these gearboxes like this 540, or even maybe I'll go to 530 on the Fords. The Fords just love it. They just idle. The minute you put it in, you just know it. They just sit there and idle. I think at about 680 RPM until they warm up. It's just, it's just brilliant. And when I was coming into Port Said, like I was doing 8 knots, over 8 knots, never even thought about it because I'm so over pitch prop, 1600 RPM, I'm doing 9 knots. So, yeah, give you an idea. And it just did 8, I'm looked out, shit, 8.2 knots, easy. Yeah, so there you go. And that's with the old oil. All right, there's the update. I'm ready to move out. The management turned up at about 9 o'clock last night when it was cool, and we talked about my account. Very good, gotta say. And this place, you know, it's a marble, polished aluminium stainless. It's just gorgeous. Yeah, you know, when you look up the shower and you've got a 10 by 10 shower head, yeah, give it. Oh, lovely. Yeah, there's some strange things I'll talk about later, but the boat has not been put through customs. So, yeah, if I need to go shopping, the police have to come with me and all that. So, and that'll be tomorrow or the next day. So we'll be off to Carrefour, and it'll be half an hour to 3/4 of an hour before we get all the police and everyone organised for me to get in the cab and the police follow me around. So off to buy some. There's no mutton, no lamb here at all, no goat meat. It's all beef. So I've been surviving on veal, and the veal here is absolutely brilliant. And the other thing that's really great, the white potatoes, very suspect, and the cabbage, don't buy it. It'll send you straight to, loo. But there are some white potatoes which are okay. I guess they export them, so the water is known. The water here in the plastic bottles is superb. I don't know what process they're doing it with, but it's the only country I've ever been where the calcium is lower than the magnesium. And it's sweet and soft and gorgeous. And you can tell straight away because when you boil it in an electric jug, it's clean. So I've got some Nestle, not my favourite company, but the water is just gorgeous. So, yeah. So if there's maybe you don't like the shopping and the food might, cause you some problems, but the veal is absolutely superb. It's not on my diet list, but it's the only thing I can do. I get a lot of fat with it, and it's just so easy to digest. So the older you get, the more fat you need, and grind it up. But no, I've been doing it as steaks and dry, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So it's just some of the soft. The tomatoes are ordinary, but I've been mincing them up, and or a bit of oil, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and making great beans with it, and as a standby soup, fantastic. So yeah. Okay, so that's the Egypt story. I've been here over 20 days, I think, ever since the war was breaking out as I was coming down. And, I've been the only boat here forever. And it's only been the last couple of days that the 1900 footers have been turning up. In fact, there was this row here. Right, there was 5 80, 90 footers. They all disappeared. They're off to the Med. So, yeah, it got reasonably busy. But, yeah, in that shed, where's my finger? Yeah, that shed there, there'd be 200 footers in there. And they're both built in Egypt. And what they do is, where most people have their toys, they don't. Same with this one that I've here. The what looks like the toy door is in fact the engines, and they run the engines in the rear with V-drives. So great idea, love it. Anyway guys, look, that's my, I know I hadn't done a lot of videos, but yeah, so that door there is the engine room door. And yeah, this thing's heavy, it just doesn't move. Alright, so yeah, we'll see you later. I've got all the tents up. You can see I've got tents right through. I've got the tent there to keep the, a little bit of sun off the staysail. So, yep, the Ford depth sounders are working really well. I'll put some silicone on that, or some prop some, here's, yep, prop speed. Yeah, got that on it. It's working really well. Dropped all my books for the Mediterranean. Did a donation. Actually, haven't used this for a while now, but no doubt something will happen. The leak, been there 10 years, and the starboard leaked. I tightened it up and fixed it. This one has got the water heater on it, so it's a bit low. Generator I haven't used. Just the inverters and more the two big panels. And mate, at 5 or 6 and 7 o'clock, these things pump. So they get it in the morning, and then in the afternoon they just hammer. I've seen up to 45 amps on the meter. Yeah, it catches up real good. So with that, traveling at night, it's easy, just with a lead cell supplying the power to the steering. All right, time to finish. Ciao.